to Dogs of the Wind. In this series, we invite you to join us in the Kruger National Park as we slow down and take you with us the long way up. Traveling from south to north and back again. We arrived at Crocodile Bridge Gate to find marabou storks, vultures, and many other birds of prey right at the gate.
Just entered the park and we are now going on our first game drive. There's apparently very high chance of finding the big five. I've had plenty of sightings apparently on board and on the app. And is currently attached to the app. Apparently there are some leopard and there's a Kori bustard. I see a Kori bustard. Is he filming it right now? The Kori bustard is one of the biggest flying animals, flying birds, isn't it?
I think so.
The Kori bustard and the brown hornbill. But I think the Kori bustard tops it.
The Kori bustard is indeed the heaviest flying bird in Africa, weighing in at up to 12 kilograms.
There's a bird in this tree over here. It's a brown something or other.
That's a squiddy!
It's still there.
Where?
It's just a little deeper in the bush. I can see it lifting its head. There it goes, and it's still there. So we have just seen a pearl-spotted owlet. These are interesting birds because when they turn their head around, they have fake eyes on the back of their head. I think that's to confuse any potential threats. And there it goes. Oh wow, there's more large birds of prey in this tree.
Yeah, they are.
Well, there's a large bird of prey and there's like a little
It's another
starling. Could be like a Wahlberg's eagle or one of those other ones.
Maybe, but it does have a black tip and it's like still tawny looking.
There are a lot of brown eagles that all look pretty much the same. There's another eagle coming in. There are birds of prey everywhere here at Crocodile Bridge. So, we've never been to Crocodile Bridge before. This is the first time we're staying here. And we were greeted by some very cheeky warthogs. One warthog came right into camp and made itself at home and right next to our picnic table and camping chair and braai.
Little did we know, but that wouldn't be the last we saw of those warthogs.
I think they're all quite cute.
We saw the usual large herbivores like giraffe and zebra, complete with red-billed oxpeckers. You can't drive far without hearing the sound of the rattling testicular. We also saw plenty of shrikes and other commonly seen birds as soon as we arrived.
Who are you gonna babble to? This is green face.
Crocodile Bridge is a fairly small camp, with only a few chalets and a handful of campsites. Like all main rest camps, it has a filling station and a shop. But what was quite unusual was a nursery.
A little nursery.
There is a day visitors area and some safari tents, as well as chalets with a lovely view over the Crocodile River. But there's no pool, so you'd better be prepared to deal with the hot weather. We woke at dawn on our second day in Kruger and set out on the road at 4:30 to see a beautiful sunrise. This turned out to be one of our most productive days, starting with the lovely Birchall's Kugel, one of my favorites due to its bubbling call. The giant African ground snail was another fairly common sight, as was the Birchall starling.
This is day 2 of our talking to the camera challenge. So we actually got up early this morning. Our alarm was set for 4 o'clock. The highlight of our morning drive was seeing a triplet of cheetah on the road.
We had a successful morning drive, ticking off many birds as well as a few reptiles on our daily list before returning to camp.
It's a turban actually. As we got home, we had a little bit of breakfast and we got accosted by a family of warthogs. Crocodile Bridge doesn't have any anti-animal access stuff in front of the gate. Usually they either have bars or they have electric fencing or something across the gate to prevent animals from coming into the camp itself.
So, very cute, yeah, must say. Adorable little things. And then suddenly one ginormous big one just sticks its head right inside our tent while we're sitting here.
Lindsay's advice was stay still, and then it decided no, it wants to go into our dry food box.
I very much underestimated the dexterity of a warthog snout, as it very deftly opened the lid of our food box. It was time to now chase the warthog away, and it decided to fight back and did a little mock charge, which was quite scary.
And then we had to fend it off with the chair.
We managed to use our huge big camping chair as a weapon.
Like I kind of use it like a lance.
But while we're busy fending off one, another one is trying to make its way through a little gap in the tent.
Instead of blood in the water, there was granola in the air. And we had to zip up to the tent, and their little snouts were coming in under the tent.
They've now got the smell of food, and they are single-mindedly pursuing our granola and our bread rolls.
It was quite traumatic actually.
I really didn't think that warthogs would be our problem. I thought that monkeys and baboons would be a nuisance around camp.
Definitely not warthogs.
But now I know. Respect the warthogs.
After our close encounter with warthogs, we headed out for another drive, and were greeted by this member of the Big Five. The buffaloes were followed by some western cattle egrets, and we spotted a purple roller in a tree. We headed to Hippo Pools, just outside of Crocodile Bridge Camp, and we spotted many birds at the water. In the heat of the day, many animals were eager to have a swim or a mud bath.
We've been having good luck with Dakers.
As we drove up the S25, we ran into a ranger who gave us a tip. So we just learned from the Bush Telegraph that there are lions in about 4 kilometers. So we're heading down the road to see if we can find them, and we'll update you as soon as we do.
We are currently sitting here watching a very hot pride of lions. We were given the information by a kindly ranger up the road, and just giving us an idea of where to find them. Yeah, wasn't too hard, lots of people here, so yeah.
After spending some time with the lions, we headed home. But after an early supper, we headed out again to check if the lions were still there. The late afternoon light was beautiful as we watched an African openbill and a lazy crocodile.
This openbill's beautiful.
Sure enough, the lions were still in the same spot, but some had moved into the road. It was still hot, and a grizzled old male enjoyed the shade and some personal grooming.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to day 3 of the Kruger Diaries. We got out nice and early and we headed straight for the lions.
And sure enough, they were not in the same place, but they were still on the same road, so we found them no problem. We were the first car on the scene, and just before we drove off, they got up to mate.
The rest of the pride was nearby under a bush, but the real action began when a herd of elephants arrived on the scene. We were lucky to witness some interaction between the lions and elephants. The lions were not keen on giving up their position under the bush, but they eventually gave way as the elephants came past, trumpeting and at times stampeding their way through the bush. Back at camp, the woodland kingfishers put on a show, calling and displaying their brilliant blue wings. Our afternoon drive was a pleasure. We headed back to the lions, as it seemed fitting to end off our stay at Crocodile Bridge, spending time with these kings and queens. The next morning, it was time to pack up our campsite, and as usual when taking down our camp, we found some creepy crawlies that had made themselves at home in our tent.
It's gonna crawl in the tent. I think you need to chase it out. What's that gonna do? Good morning. We are on our way deeper into the park today. We have just stayed for 3 nights at the small rest camp of Crocodile Bridge, and now we're heading to Satara. We've had a very successful 3 days in Crocodile Bridge, seeing multiple sightings of lion, and we've seen lots of elephant, lots of buffalo. Anyway, we're going on for our long trek up the road to Satara.
On our way out, we saw yet more lions. But we didn't stay long this time, as we had places to go and other things to see. So join us in the next episode as we visit Satara Rest Camp on the long way up.
Good morning and welcome to day 4 of the Kruger Diaries. We are on our way to Satara Rest Camp.
Our journey was filled with sightings of many birds and animals as we made our way north for the next 4 nights. We always love spotting a shimmering green sunbird feeding on the nectar of flowers. And of course, a sighting of an endangered species is also special. We were delighted to spot so many southern ground hornbills on our trip, evidence of the success of well-researched breeding programs.
It's a Euro roll. Those are killers.
A slender mongoose was another special sighting. We spotted a few on our trip with their long black-tipped tails, but this one stayed still just long enough for us to capture a shot. A giant plated lizard was an unusual sighting which required some research to identify. A gathering of a variety of vultures showed us that a kill had recently taken place, although there was no sign of the predator responsible. Satara is a large rest camp with loads of character. The camp is decorated with artworks and sculptures. The camp is made up of a number of circular groupings of rondavels, and the campsite is large and spacious. An afternoon drive yielded some peaceful scenes at a low-level water crossing, and plenty of animals bathed in golden hour light. We finished off our day with the sighting of a herd of buffalo at the Rivernia camp.
This is day 5. I am still extremely grateful to be out here in Kruger. Today was a very eventful day. Although we only got 63 species on my list, we did see some pretty amazing sightings. Starting out with the side-striped jackal.
We've never seen these jackal in Kruger before, but we saw 2 of them today.
You don't usually see them in Kruger. They're quite rare. We've only seen them once before in the Maputo Special Reserve earlier this year, so we were very lucky to see 2 of them.
We then added the Senegal lapwing to our lifer list. A pair of sparring impala put on a show. Otherwise, it was a fairly quiet morning drive, but back at camp, we received some intel.
When we got back to camp, we found out that there were lion around in the area on the trustworthy S100. We found out that there was a pair of males and then there was 9 females, a pride of 9 females. So we decided to go look for the pair of males first. Went down the S100 and to our surprise, a pair of cheetah appeared out of the bush. And we were the only ones there. They looked at us, we looked at them, they crossed the road, they went into the river, they probably crossed the river from there, and that was that. Quick, done. Just like me, leopard sightings actually, they just disappear. And carry on, and we found the 2 male lions, but they were just 2 young male lions, and they looked very skinny, unfortunately.
A few hundred meters down the road, a pair of elephants were drinking at a waterhole. We waited to see if they would move in the direction of the lions, but they moved off into the bush instead, and we moved on, heading towards H6.
And we followed the H6. We actually found some common ostriches, which was quite fun. And then we found the Cuddle Puddle of lions. And there were 9 lionesses, all in the shade of one tree. It was quite cute. And then by the time we actually headed back out around 4:30, the Cuddle Puddle had migrated onto the road.
It was incredible to see so many lionesses lazing around on the road amongst the cars and buses of excited tourists. They looked to be in magnificent form, and we imagined that these 9 lionesses must be very well fed and successful huntresses.
they got up and started walking down the road. So naturally we followed them. Pretty soon they came into contact with some zebra and the hunt began.
We are currently looking at 9 females and they are downwind of a herd of zebra. So we're going to see how this pans out. It's going to be very exciting.
We watched with anticipation as the lions slowly maneuvered into position, closer and closer to their prey.
The lion is like 20 meters away from the zebra. The zebra has no idea what's going on. One lion is in position and there's 2 others very close by. I think the zebra is really none the wiser. It's within 20 meters and it's getting closer towards the other 2 lionesses. I think this is a goodbye zebra.
We marveled at the masterful tactics of the lions, stalking slowly but steadily with great patience in their deadly game of stalk the lantern. We watched as they froze in place, crouched low, their tan-colored fur melting into the grass, with only the black tips of their ears visible.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see them finish their hunt because it was starting to get late and we wanted to avoid a fine at the gate.
We're already watching it with bated breath and binoculars in very, very far distance.
Kruger is treating us very well. So this is day 6 of the Kruger Diaries.
We're going to coin the name of our trip, The Long Way Up.
We are just now realizing how very long 3 weeks actually is in Kruger.
Because we are going to go from here, Satara, to Shingwetsi, then to Punda. And then from Punda, we're going to head back down to Letaba and then we'll end off our trip at Satara.
I think a lot of people are very jealous that we have 3 weeks to spend in Kruger. Certainly nothing to complain about. It's like living the life of a game ranger. So we didn't see that much, and that's probably due to the rain. It's been raining most of the day today.
We got some really lovely footage of things in the rain, which is quite nice because everything's like quite wet, and there's also that very gentle mist as well as a gentle veil of rain falling behind them with the different footage that we get.
A troop of baboons sat in the road on the S100, grooming each other and watching over their playful offspring. These animals are certainly among the most entertaining to watch, as their antics remind us so much of ourselves. The youngsters amuse themselves by playing tug of war with a stick and chasing each other in circles.
Waterpark bums.
Welcome to day 7 of the Kruger Diaries, aka the long way up. We woke up at 4 o'clock again this morning and we're out on the road by 4:50. Best sighting of the morning was a pair of baby jackals, black-backed jackals, busy romping and playing together. They were chasing each other around bushes. They even had a dead mouse which they were tussling over. It was really fun to watch them.
With mom very, very patiently trying to feed them and like trying to give them a dead mouse. But they just end up playing with the dead mouse, and I can just sort of go see it going through her mind going like, well, this is food. Don't play with food. Eat food.
The easiest way to tell the difference between a black-backed jackal and a side-striped jackal is to look at the tip of the tail. The black-backed jackal has a black-tipped tail, while the side-striped jackal has a white-tipped tail. These mischievous pups were one of the most adorable sightings of our entire trip. A little further down the road, we found a spotted hyena. And then another surprise was waiting for us.
Lindsay was very, very keen of eye and saw these two females popping their heads up as we were driving past.
It's always really exciting when you are the ones to spot the animals yourselves instead of having somebody point them out to you.
Male ground hornbills can be distinguished by the red skin under their beaks, while females have a dark blue-black patch of skin beneath their bills.
We headed to the Timberfights picnic site where we had a really nice brunch.
A word from the wise: bring cash when you're in Kruger. Pay for as much as you can with your card, but always have like a bit of cash on you, because at the picnic sites they don't have card machines, so it costs 30 Rand to hire a skottel. Lindsay, smile.
After brunch, we encountered a colony of ants on the move. We always try to appreciate even the smallest creatures that roam the park. At Gudzani Dam at sunset, these hippos kept us entertained, as one pursued the other around the entire dam in what seemed to be a territorial dispute. In the next episode, we head further north, to one of our favorite rest camps in the entire park.
Welcome to day 8 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up. Today was a traveling day.
We traveled all the way from Tatara to Shingwedzi.
We are hoping for a leopard because the last time we were in Shingwedzi we saw multiple leopard sightings. So hopefully this time we'll be treated nicely again and get to see lots of leopard. But we don't want to get our hopes up, especially with leopard, because they're so shy. The most exciting sighting we had today was a trio of honey badger. We saw the 3 honey badgers just outside of Tatara on our way up.
We took some time to watch these vivacious mesopredators scavenge for food, their grey backs and black bodies coming in and out of view as they trundled along, pausing every now and then to look up in search of danger. An interesting theory is that cheetah cubs have evolved to mimic honey badger coloration, as honey badgers have a reputation of being animals to be left well alone. These feisty critters have been known to fend off fearsome predators like leopards. It was soon time for us to say goodbye to the trio of honey badgers, as we had a long journey north to Shingwedzi. Along the way up, we encountered one of the more distinct bee-eaters, the southern carmine bee-eater. With its incredibly vivid coat of pink feathers and distinctive blue crown, it cannot be mistaken for any other bird. They are commonly found nearer the northern edges of Kruger, as they migrate to this area in the summer months. we also came across this large tusked elephant. Although the tusks didn't look tusker length, we could be mistaken. If anyone knows if this guy is named, please let us know in the comments. We always marvel at the size of an aged elephant, no matter how many we come across. You can see the experience as he gently plucks fresh leaves full of nutrients, making sure to avoid leaves covered in sand, as wearing down their last set of teeth is a death sentence for elephants. We soon crossed the incredibly full Olifants River, with water spanning from bank to bank, a testament to the volume of rain that the Kruger had seen this year.
Today on the sightings board there weren't that many sightings to be had, but otherwise it was quite an uneventful drive up. We stopped at the top of High, we stopped again only in Shingwedzi. We've got a lovely campsite under a very big tree. If you're looking for a nice campsite outside of Shingwedzi that is not by the fence, there is behind the ablution block a really nice big tree. It is beautiful, shady, and I think our whole setup sits straight underneath it during the day. So that's quite nice. We went for a swim, we went for a drive around Red Rocks, and there is actually quite a lot of water around compared to last year. So it has been interesting to see how much water is flowing down the Shingwedzi River.
We saw an incredible amount of water birds with the amount of water flowing in the Shingwedzi River. And with water birds, there are always the ever-present crocodiles. We were also lucky to see the endangered southern ground hornbills, always a favorite sighting for us. A large water monitor stalked across a patch of open ground on our way back from Red Rocks, and then we stumbled upon more predators. A pair of young hyenas waiting patiently at their den near the side of the road. These intelligent animals have so much character, and it is always a treat to spot them in the bush. With that, we finished off our first day at Shingwedzi.
Go.
Hello and welcome to day 9 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up.
Now Kruger Diaries is no longer just a 5-minute challenge. We're actually just going to do this as a thing, isn't it?
Yes. Today was a really lovely day.
We got up early, got out the gate by around about 4:30. We were hoping to try and maintain our streak from last time we were here and see many amazing things in the morning, but unfortunately this was not to be.
We decided to do the Mpongolo loop, so that was our plan for the morning.
Unfortunately, we didn't see anything in the pre-dawn glow, but as the sun rose, we encountered a large troop of baboons. Although they may not be the most jaw-dropping sight in Kruger, baboons are always entertaining to watch. And so we watched them for a few minutes near the start of the Mpongolo loop. After that, we came across another sighting of ground hornbills, with their hollow and haunting calls echoing through the bush. It is heartening to see these birds thriving inside protected areas like Kruger, as incredible conservation efforts have been undertaken to protect this fascinating species. A green pigeon sat nestled in the branches of a tall tree, and a pair of white-fronted bee-eaters perched side by side on a twig. We soon also spotted the little bee-eater in the morning sunshine. And we found a family of wolf mongoose frolicking playfully on a log at the side of the road. But other than these small creatures, the dirt road was quiet.
So we followed the Mpongolo route up north, up to Babalala picnic site, and then we headed back on the tar road. So going back on the tar road, generally, sometimes you see some amazing things, sometimes you don't, and this was one of those times where we actually did see some quite amazing things.
We saw a lion in the road just as I was about to have a nap. Calvin woke me up to tell me that there was a lion in the road. It was a big male and he was off marking his territory. So he was walking with purpose down the road. We followed him for maybe half a kilometer, maybe a kilometer down the road, and eventually he went off into the bush, into the distance. We could still see him, but we decided to move on anyway, and we headed towards home. On our way home, we noticed a whole lot of cars stopped at the Lamont waterhole. So we decided to reverse and go down the loop to see what everybody could see, and it was well worth our while because there were wild dogs in the riverbed.
And they were sitting under a tree. So we were able to find them with the help of the other guys. They found out that they told us that they'd actually moved into the river and into the and under the tree there, and we were able to see there were about 12 of them there, and they were all very, very healthy looking wild dogs.
It was a really, really beautiful sighting. So very, very lucky that we got to see 2 predators in one drive. After that, we came home.
We went for a run.
We went for a run. About 4 loops of the camp will make up 5 kilometers, at least the route that we took. It was really, really lovely to just enjoy the morning air and get a little bit of exercise.
We actually did a 5-kilometer run in this incredibly muggy and humid climate. Then we also had a nap, then we had a swim, then we went out for an evening drive after an afternoon spent along camp. In our evening drive we went and did the Mpongolo route again, but this time we went up along the tar road and then back on along the actual route. And from that point it was just beautiful scenery, but otherwise nothing spectacular popped out at us.
We kept count of the birds we saw along the way, as usual, and enjoyed the little things.
Striped skink, I think. So we headed back to camp, spent some time on the bridge, and from spending some time on the bridge we were able to see some little swifts and take some photos, and then we headed back to camp. We made a delicious curry, a veggie curry. Something that we've been trying very hard is that we actually bought food beforehand, and we haven't bought anything major from the shop as yet. We've only been eating food that we brought from home. So we've been doing quite well. We are onto the dry foods and the veggies. We are fresh out of meat, but it's alright. We're ending off the evening with our 5-minute challenge, and that's that. This is day 10 of our Kruger Diaries now.
Today we woke up very early once again, as usual. It's become our routine to wake up at about 4 o'clock in the morning so that we can be out by 4:30. We saw 3 spotted hyenas on our drive this morning, which was probably the highlight. We continued on to Kruger Dam and we saw some pipit plovers, and that was about all.
So going down south was quite nice. It's a lovely drive, very scenic. We just didn't see much in terms of large predatory mammals.
Back at camp, an angry squirrel used its best intimidation tactics against us as we rested in the shade of what was clearly his tree. Later that afternoon, we witnessed 2 giants engaging in battle, tusk against tusk. We maneuvered as best we could to capture the epic battle amid the trees.
We watched the new housewives of hippos. Yeah, we watched the dramas unfold of like a hippopod. Like there's one poor outcast who got shoved out when the whole pod moved from one pond to the next pond. It was true drama.
The hippo drama was indeed worthy of any reality TV show, as these large semi-aquatic creatures established their social hierarchy. It was interesting to watch the pod protect their little ones from the cantankerous males. If you're looking for more reality drama, look no further than a large pile of fresh elephant dung. It doesn't take long for the dung beetles to descend and begin rolling their dung balls. If you look closely enough, you'll witness the dramas unfold as cheeky little beetles attempt to commandeer the dung balls already rolled by other beetles. Work smarter, not harder, as they say.
Welcome back to day 11 of Kruger Diaries.
We had the earliest start that we've had yet. We got up at 3:15 to be ready for a special bird and game drive at 3:45 in the morning. Shadrach was our guide and he was fantastic. He was very knowledgeable about all the birds that we saw, and especially all the bird calls. He could identify a lot of the birds just from their calls, even though we couldn't see them in the bush.
Not every camp offers birding drives, but as we learned on our last trip, Shingwedzi does, so we didn't hesitate to sign up. We saw many birds even before the sun rose, and we continued to spot a great variety throughout the morning. You'll need a good pair of binoculars, and it certainly helps to have a good bird book or app to help you identify your sightings.
As a call of the grey-headed kingfisher.
We use the Roberts Birding app, but there are many other birding apps available.
There's a yellow one.
Last one there.
Five kingfishers as well on the wing.
Oh yeah. Because you see, it's called Is that not a cementa pill, Udo? It's all by itself over there.
Looks like a shark as well.
Yeah.
Female red-head shrike.
Yeah.
Yeah, three-banded parrot.
There's also one black one there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a double, it's a solid color bowl. It's quite a hook beak.
Yeah.
We identified close to 60 species in just a few hours on our morning drive, and we were very pleased with our total.
Otherwise, it was a lovely morning. It's a 3-hour game drive. It costs around 300 Rand per person to do. We stayed around camp for most of the day after that. We started chatting to some of our neighbors, and we found out that we were not the only ones having trouble finding cool things to look at. Anyway, on that note, we did head through to Grootfontein in the afternoon, and we saw nearly nothing as well.
But on our way back, we were extremely lucky. We stopped to have a look at some birds of prey in the sky above us. And when I looked down from the sky, what was in front of me?
Lindsay shouts, "There's a leopard in front of us."
And there it was, walking across the road, right in front of us. And then it disappeared off into the bush.
Lindsay has her camera first mentality, and she was able to get about 3 seconds of footage, so you'll probably see it now. But that gives us our leopard sighting for Shingwetsi.
Join us next time as we venture further north to the beautiful Hunda Maria. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying our content.
Hello everyone, this is day 12. we're halfway in actually into our trip, our long way up. We are going to be spending 4 nights in Punta Maria and then 4 more nights in Letaba, which is now going south again, and then we'll have another 3 nights in Satara, and we'll see in the new year 2024. We will be spending Christmas in Punta Maria, which is quite nice, so you can expect a little Christmas message from us. We basically woke up around about 5, packed up, left Shingwetsi around about 6, no, maybe 6:30. We were kind of chuffed a little bit. Some of the caravan dads were packing up before us, and we were able to finish up before them. Anyway, drove up to Punta Maria.
There's not all that much to report. Our species count is only in the 30s only.
Upon arrival at Punta Maria, we were greeted by the snake, which may or may not be a skarpsteker. We watched as it snaked its way among our fellow campers' gear before it slithered off into the bush. We then headed to one of our favourite spots, Klopperfontein Dam, where we watched some majestic waterbirds and some young impalas testing their strength as they battled it out, horn against horn.
We went to Klopperfontein Dam this afternoon, which was very nice as well. We saw a lot of Egyptian geese and they seemed to be courting, so we watched them honking and chasing each other around the dam.
The next day, we were greeted by a magnificent sunrise at Klopperfontein once again.
Hello and welcome to day 13 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up. Today we're actually on day 14 and doing day 13's challenge because we were so tired last night and we kind of forgot to do it. So we are doing it today instead. We went up to Parfuri yesterday, so we actually did see quite a lot. We got up to 64 different species.
And as you can see, we are in Punta Maria. I've decided to change the background a bit. Instead of seeing the inside of our tent, you can see the rest of the camp. We wanted to do a long day out. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to go up to Parfuri picnic site, and we wanted to do a little bit of more of a fry up. But again, we wanted to see if we could find the Parfuri specials again. Maybe see them again from a bit of sighting of maybe racktail rollers or spinetail or something, or anything really. So we ended up heading up to Parfuri, but not super early. I think we slept in. We were very tired. I think the trip has been catching up on us, and we've both been quite tired of waking up early and game ranging ourselves around. So we ended up leaving probably around about 6 only, and we only got up to the Parfuri picnic site by probably around 10. By the time we got to the Parfuri picnic site, it was already quite late in the day, and we decided to do a little bit of a fry up. And we were also accosted by a specific male monkey, and this male monkey stole tomatoes, a wrap, and scared the bejesus out of both of us.
It always gives you a big fright when they just appear out of nowhere, grab your stuff, and then run away.
Whenever you are doing anything at a picnic site, just beware of monkeys. they don't respect females, unfortunately. They are not woke, unfortunately. They only respect testosterone driven. Okay, so be wise of that. Unfortunately, Lindsay couldn't chase away this monkey, but he would listen to me. But the problem is I was busy cooking as well, so it was a bit difficult to keep our eyes on everything at once. So unfortunately, this monkey was very wily and got his snacks from us. Anyway, you'll be back to your regular programming later. You'll probably see us at the end of the day again under our fairy lights and inside the tent again.
We enjoyed the beautiful roads around Pafuri, driving slowly through the bush, viewing the stunning starlings and other lovely birds you can only see up north.
So Lindsay, where are we?
We're at Crux Corner.
And what does that mean?
It means we're in the most northerly part of the park.
And where did we come from?
We came from Crocodile Bridge, the
Ah!
most southerly point of the park.
How does that make you feel, Linz?
Very cool.
We watched a Deirdre cuckoo over the bridge and then enjoyed a view of some buffalo crossing the river. They clearly enjoyed the cool water as they lingered in the shallows of the river. We also saw a sandpiper in the shallows of the water. It is very difficult to identify these birds from one another as there are so many similar species.
We drove around trying very hard to find the racket-tailed rollers. So last year Game Ranger told us that we need to look between markers 7 and 9 after the Pafuri Bridge. We drove up and down and we found many lilac-breasted rollers, but no racket-tailed rollers.
Back at the Pafuri Bridge, we saw our old friends the buffalo, joined by a herd of elephants coming down to drink at the water. The elephants are always a treat to witness as they splash in the water and refresh themselves in the cool of the river, so placid and benevolent. The elephants looked so beautiful in the stream, we had to sit and enjoy the scene from the Pafuri Bridge as they played in the shallows. We were particularly privileged to see so many young elephants who have not yet experienced quite so many times the feeling of splashing headfirst into the water with the cool lapping waves around their ears. What a special moment to live out with these majestic creatures. One thing elephants truly seem to have is a sense of community, truly embodying the African philosophy of Ubuntu. What a strong sense of togetherness they seem to share as they watch over one another while they roll around in the mud. They certainly seem very human. Who needs a professional spa treatment when you can just enjoy a DIY spa treatment from the comforts of your own herd. And we finished off the day listening to the emerald-spotted wood dove mourning the loss of its family members.
Hello, this is day 14 of our Kruger Diaries, the long way up. We started the day quite early. We followed the main road going to Kloppenfontein and then headed back along the dirt.
We started the day at Kloppenfontein once again with some elephants. And then a Kori bustard in the morning glow. A sandpiper and a fish eagle rounded out our bird list. Back at camp, while I napped, Kelvin witnessed some Rex's helmet shrikes who came through the campsite. Of course, he never disturbs me when there are interesting birds, but he'll wake me up at 5 a.m. for no apparent reason. He also saw the beautiful crowned hornbill in the afternoon light.
Then, while Kelvin went to the bathroom, he ran into our friend Chris once again and got a fantastic tip about cheetah on the S60. So we decided that for our evening drive we were going to try and find a cheetah on the S60. They were apparently on the left-hand side of the road just before the road merged with the main road, the H18. And that was our afternoon drive. We got there to the place that Chris had described, and luckily we found the cheetah. There are two of them, two males, possibly brothers, and they were lying in the shade under a tree. So it was very exciting to spot them. We were the only car on the scene. Nobody else was there, which is quite surprising. In the south, there would be cars all over a cheetah sighting like that. They were not far off the road, only about 15 meters into the bush. So a very clear sighting, although they were lying in the grass, but they were lifting their heads up from time to time. And with a little bit of patience, eventually we figured they would get up.
The cheetah did indeed get up, and they put on quite a show for us. They disappeared into the bush to the east, but we drove around to the main road, and sure enough, we found them as they emerged from the bush onto the main road. We watched them as they stalked off in the glorious evening light. We felt so lucky to spend so much time in the presence of this incredible predator in such a breathtaking setting. We had erroneously believed that the north of Kruger was not the place to find predators, but this sighting proved us incorrect, as we stayed with these magnificent predators for over an hour. We watched as they found a body of water from which to drink, and we saw them slake their thirst as the sun slowly set. Their orange eyes glinted in the sunset light. I couldn't bear to cut too much of this footage while editing, as these animals are just so breathtaking. I wanted to show you as much as possible, despite our sometimes shaky footage.
Hello and welcome to day 15 of the Kruger Diaries, The Long Way Up. And a very Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Day today, so happy Christmas to everyone.
Today was an interesting day. I think every day is an interesting day in the park. It's always fun actually. We're on for day 15 of 21. So if you can do some maths, quick maths, there's less than 7 days left.
We started the day at Kloppenfontein as usual. And as usual, we saw the plethora of water birds in the shallows of the dam. To be sure, this time we didn't see quite the same variety of birds as we did last year when we visited this spot. Perhaps the water level was too high for some of the wading birds to enjoy the shallows, but we did see plenty of herons, and the charismatic little grebe who loves to dominate the surface of the lake. We also saw plenty of white-faced whistling ducks, or nonnekie-eender in Afrikaans. And we spotted an immature striated heron, which we momentarily thought might have been a dwarf bittern, which got us quite excited. The water's edge always provides a lovely array of birds for identification, and we enjoyed our Christmas birding immensely.
Flip off and go.
We continued on towards Parfuri to see if we could once again spot the elusive Parfuri specials like the Bohm spinetail and the racket-tailed roller. But we nearly found many Neve starlings and other interesting northern birds. The monotonous lark gave no question as to the origin of its name. The flowers in the Parfuri area are truly breathtaking, and fields of yellow devil's thorns and white lilies cover the terrain. We saw bee eaters aplenty, and loads of rollers too.
So we took a drive back down, it was quite leisurely, and we ended up just chilling for today.
We started planning our Christmas lunch. So we went up to the shop and we bought some smoked chicken and some ham, and we whipped out our mayonnaise and our potatoes, and we made a potato salad and a coleslaw. And Kelvin made some bread rolls on the braai, which were really, really good.
I've also devised a way of making rolls on the braai, which is quite lovely. They do come out quite nice and quite smoky and quite light. So Lindsay, what do we have here?
We have Christmas Day lunch.
So
we have potato salad, we have
Alright.
coleslaw, we have salad ingredients and smoked chicken and freshly made braai broodjies.
Merry Christmas, love.
Merry Christmas, love.
After that, we went for a swim and and chilled at the pool for a while, chatted to some new people, made some new friends, and then we went out for our afternoon drive to Tutswini, but we didn't see all that much except for some zebra and the usual animals.
We did see Klipspringer. We haven't seen Klipspringer this entire trip yet, so that was quite nice.
We also saw the beautiful common waxbills sitting placidly in a thorn tree, as one so often sees them. It was a lovely drive out to Tutswini before we headed home to settle in for a rather eventful night.
We are just settling in for the night and making sure that everything is pegged down securely because there is a massive storm rolling in. You can hear the thunder in the distance and there's flashes of lightning going on. Calvin has just made sure that everything is pegged down and we are safe and secure. We will survive the storm. We'll be driving back down south again tomorrow. The book says an 8-hour drive, but that's going 25 km an hour. If you go at 50 at the speed limit, you should get there in about 3.5 or 4 hours.
But otherwise we had some lovely dinner, and we went at the washing up station. We met some fans of the channel. I don't know if we're fans, just someone who's watched our stuff, I guess. But it was really lovely that you said hello, and here's a hello back. Hello Zanab and Laquan. We are really glad that you came and said hello. It really tickled us pink for at least half an hour, or actually 2 hours. This is about 3 hours later actually. We are going to bed. There's a storm rolling in. I don't know if it's going to hit us, but we are buttoned up and battened down, so we are ready for the storm. And our setup has weathered some gale force storms. Refer back to our Eastern Cape and or the Marina Beach episode for that. Okay, anyway, thanks for everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to day 16 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up.
We're on our way to Letaba.
There was an almighty storm. It has been raining and raining and raining.
We have just packed up in very wet conditions. Thankfully it wasn't raining while we were packing up, but last night there was an exceptional downpour. So everything has gained about 5 kilograms, and the tent is hit wet and heavy, the gazebo is wet and heavy, the ground sheet is wet and heavy. This is the one of the drawbacks of having a ground tent, which is that it gets very wet and very muddy. Next time you probably hear from us will be our diary entry. And yeah, we'll probably hear about what we see on the way down to Letaba.
Our first stop from Punda Maria was Mapani's shop to get some pies and a coffee. We were treated to a sighting of a European nightjar sitting in a tree just outside the shop.
We moved from Punda Maria down to Letaba, so it was a heck of a long drive.
So Lindsay, where are we?
At Letaba in the rain.
Yeah, we have just moved into a rain belt, it seems. It looks like it's been raining here for a few days, I think, at least.
Yeah,
The ground is absolutely saturated.
And we've just set up our camp in the rain.
Well, we actually left as well in the rain. But anyway.
Yeah, a lot of destroyed gazebos up at Ponda Maria.
Anywho, we're gonna have some lunch now and see what's what.
Why is there a pig in the wash-up basin?
I don't know.
I'm not washing it.
Hello. We have finished setting up our camp. We are currently going for a drive to dry ourselves out and jackets and stuff. And we are driving on the
Engelhard Dam.
Engelhard Dam loop. It is south and east. And this is a loop that I've never experienced or never explored. And there are plenty of loops that go close to the river. Be careful. There are some that are very, very steep, and it is raining, and I'm being a bit of a nut because we're going through them. But yeah, there's some 4x4 playgrounds here.
The most fun was really just driving the really wet, muddy roads of Kruger. That was quite exciting and adventurous. We drove the S94 and then onto the S46. We enjoyed our afternoon drive, and that's pretty much that. Once again, we woke up to rain this morning, so we decided it was a little bit pointless to go out at 4:30 as we usually do, because all the animals are going to be hiding in the bush anyway, so it was unlikely that we'd see anything. So we decided to sleep in, which was quite a treat. And then we went out for our morning drive, and we did the Engelhard drive, I suppose you could call it, the S62, past some really nice viewpoints and a really lovely bird hide, which was unfortunately wet. The rain was being blown by the wind right inside the hide, so all the seats were sopping wet, everything was wet. Just standing there you were getting wet, so we didn't stay and look at the birds, unfortunately. We carried on and went on to the Engelhard lookout point, which is kind of up a hill, and it was so misty we could barely see the dam. So we turned around and we went back home again. Once again, it was really fun to drive the muddy little loops and roads around the place.
The rain continued to fall as we approached Letaba, and it never let up. While the rain falls, the temperature falls with it, and many animals do enjoy the cooler weather. Many birds were very active during the rains, especially the water birds. Beautiful Goliath heron.
Birds are quite active today.
The hippos were also not fazed by the rain, meandering around and munching on the grass. Although wet, it is always worth a drive around to see how the animals behave in the less clement weather.
Nou, det är också rätt fint snart så ingen behind. Like a 20.
I don't think so. Hello and welcome to day 18 of the Kruger Diaries. It has finally stopped raining, so we are really enjoying a lovely morning drive. We got out super early and we went up north of Letaba, and most of the dirt roads were closed, so we came back down south again.
We actually got closed in yesterday afternoon.
We got closed in yesterday afternoon. They closed the roads while we were on one of the roads. So luckily we were in a 4x4 and we could just 4x4 our way out around the roadblock.
With the weather still overcast, we were lucky to capture the often heard but seldom seen long-billed crombeck with its beautiful call. We have been transfixed with watching the characters of hippos on this trip. The hippo single-mindedly made its way across the river.
Headed out early this morning, went back to camp very briefly and then headed down south, and we decided we're going to go towards Willifans, towards Satara.
And we decided, no, let's go down to Satara to book our New Year's drive. And we thought, well, we can just, if we can't do lots of slow dirt roads, we can do lots of fast tar roads.
See what we can see, and we have been rewarded.
Seeing wild dogs is always super exciting. Whether it's a kilometer away in the riverbed, or right next to the road interacting with two other species, these charismatic predators are always a highlight to the day. We have been incredibly lucky with sightings up to this point, and it only gets better. What was particularly special about this sighting was that the wild dogs were not alone. 3 hyena and a herd of zebra were interacting with the wild dogs right in the road. We were surprised to see these two vastly different predators interacting in the same space with very little aggression. We observed curiosity on the part of the wild dogs, a very canine trait, but listlessness from the hyenas. There was much squeaking and playing in the cool weather from the playful canines. With one even giving a little bark at the hyenas. It was such a unique sighting, and one we will never forget. We continued on our way towards Satara and saw a pair of adult fish eagles before we ran into another pack of wild dogs. These were giving their best pancake impressions, not as high energy as the previous pack. We continued down the tar road and found a large traffic jam at a herd of impala, larger than a lion traffic jam, so it meant only one thing: a leopard jam. A combination of luck and patience paid off, as a large male leopard appeared right next to our car after failing to catch lunch. We spent a good 5 minutes of viewing before he slipped off into the verdant bush. From no leopards to 2 in just a week.
Squirrel.
Chowder. It's not a yellow-billed kite. No, it's good. Before heading home, we saw a yellow-billed kite snacking on a squirrel. and some more wild dog, probably one of the same packs from earlier. It was special as they usually move vast distances in the day, and we were coming back much later.
Today was an awesome day.
But this is our third night in Letaba, isn't it? We drove all the way from Letaba down to Satara because we wanted to book for our New Year's Eve game drive, which, funny enough, is going to be a bush drive, which is going to be amazing, actually. So, stay tuned for the next episode. Satara, New Year's edition.
We tried to find some lions, but we were unsuccessful. But after 3 different sightings of wild dog and an amazing leopard sighting, we were very satisfied.
I think we had a really good day today. Very, very good day. Cheers to that. And tomorrow is our last full day here at Letaba. Hopefully we can find maybe this Letaba Pride lions. Who knows? Nobody knows. That's the bush. Where?
Last night there was a bush baby screaming.
Oh yes, there was a bush baby. And it really sounds like something is dying. And it is very loud. Very, very loud.
I did not hear it, so I stepped right through it.
So it was in the tree just above us, and it woke up almost every single tent in the area, and we all got out and we all went and had a look at this greater thick-tailed bush baby.
The bush baby, nachapi, or night monkey, directly translated from Afrikaans, or galago, are common in heavily wooded areas. They require branch contact between trees to traverse the woods safely. They are very cute, but very loud, as the entire camp thought that there was a lion killer outside the fence. But Calvin and the neighbors found the bush baby screaming into the night. The camp was thriving with bird life before we went out for a fairly uneventful drive.
It's quite a lovely sighting. Yeah.
Flap-necked chameleons and other reptiles enjoy the open road after rain, and the best thing to get them to cross the road is to keep your distance, switch off your engine, and one sees how speedy chameleons and tortoises actually can get.
Oh, the light is beautiful today. That one's a
Went along the 131 all the way to Sable, and we went and checked out Sable a little bit.
Hide.
Yeah, Sable Hide. We do like Sable Hide, it's very pretty. But we also checked out some of those high clearance
4x4 only routes, which are fun to drive.
Hmm.
With all the rains recently, there are quite a lot of puddles on them, but most of them are quite rocky bottomed and quite easy to get through and not too deep. Yeah, to us, this is our last night in Letaba actually. This is the first dry night actually we've had in Letaba. As a campsite, I really love it actually.
Yeah,
Big,
it's beautiful.
established trees, lots of shade. It's not as bare and sandy as like Shingwetsi.
Yeah, it's very green.
Very green. Or like Satara. Satara's also got like very sparse but very established trees. But anyway, that's us for tonight, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was quite an uneventful day. And yeah, bye.
Hello and welcome to day 20 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up and now most of the way back down. So today we packed up at Letaba and we headed on down south to Satara once again. The reason we decided to camp at Satara for a second time is because they do a very special New Year's Eve game drive. And in fact, this year they're doing a bush braai. But today we had a really nice day as well.
We are at the Olifants River. We have just left, not just, but we've left Letaba to head down to Satara for our last 3 nights. And we just stopped at the Balule low level bridge to have a bit of a granola cup. And look at the bird life. Oh, what I was about to say was, we'll get some footage of crossing the bridge now. It's really full, really full. The water's actually going over the low level bridge, and there's a whole bunch of junk on the bridge. So the funk and junk of 1,000 years.
So Satara is of course lion country, and we were very lucky today that we managed to see multiple sets of lions.
After the cool and rainy weather in Letaba, we were glad to see some sunshine, as were the cats, who were very happy to bask and play in the afternoon light. The cool weather can be a blessing and a curse, as the predators are more active for longer periods when it's cooler, but it's less pleasant for us, who get wet while filming. We watched these 3 sub-adult lions and a lioness roaming around in the grass, cuddling and yawning. We had found them earlier in the day and came back in the afternoon, as lions tend not to move much during the day. Murphy's Law, lions usually only start getting active at exactly the time visitors need to start heading back to the gate before closing time.
Hello and welcome to day 21 of the Kruger Diaries, the long way up. But it has been a wonderful, wonderful day, very successful. We headed straight for the H6 where the 3 male lions were last seen yesterday with 1 female, and we found them on the road, which was really exciting. And they gave us a little bit of a show before they walked off into the distance. The wonderful thing about Satara is that there are such open plains around the camp that you can see quite a great distance. Even when the animals are further off into the distance, you can still see them. They're not like at Letaba, where it's so much Mopani, dense Mopani forest, that 10 meters into the bush you can't see anything. You can see really nicely. So it was fantastic to watch them.
Watching these 4 stalk off into the distance reminded us of our previous stay in Satara, where we witnessed a group of lionesses stalking zebra. After our morning lion visit, we meandered around the loops of Satara, seeing all the territorial little birds stake their claim over their domains. I love seeing these little birds fiercely defending their territorial claims.
Oh yeah, didn't I hear? Got the head streamers.
And the red eye.
Yeah. Night heron. Yeah, funny for my night heron.
Rattling testicular.
So we came back, had naps, and then we went to the pool. The first time we went for a swim at Satara. top tip if you want to find out where lions are sleeping and staying still, or where there are leopards denning or have kills, go to the pool, find people that are happy to talk to and try get information.
We were very lucky to bump into our friend Ivan, who we met last year in Punta Maria. As always, he gave us top tips on where to find leopard in the area. We all headed out of the pool and got ready for our afternoon drive. Our mission was to find the mother leopard and her cub that were at the
I don't know, we'll have to check that.
A few moments later.
Nsamani
Dam. And there were quite a lot of cars on the bridge waiting to see if this mother leopard would show herself, but to no avail. We decided to head out on the little loop that goes up the S40 and down the S12, and we saw an amazing sighting of hyena. There was a mother hyena feeding her 2 cubs, and there was a 3rd cub, which I don't think was her cub because it looked quite a lot bigger than the other 2, and it was also trying to suckle, and she was fiercely chasing it away.
Although the scene was quite heartbreaking to watch, this is actually part of the way hyena society is structured. Hyena clans are matriarchal and nepotistic, with the matriarch's cubs ranking directly below their mother in the hierarchy and outranking all other adult females in the clan. Lower-ranking mother hyenas will therefore often act aggressively towards the matriarch's cubs when the matriarch isn't around. So perhaps what we see here is the matriarch's cub being chased away by a lower-ranking female. We were rather glad to discover this information when writing the script, as we felt very sad for the supposed outcast baby hyena and wondered what would happen to it, while in reality it probably outranks all the hyenas on the scene and will be just fine when its mother returns to feed it.
Is that a grape?
Can't imagine what else it is. This is very small.
I don't think it is a grape. It doesn't have the floof. Look at the bowl. Both very, very steeply curved.
Black bills or red bills?
Black.
We carried on down the loop, we saw Amur falcons, and then headed back to the bridge, and we arrived just on time. We waited for about 2 minutes, and sure enough, there she was.
The cub! The cub!
Leopard cub.
I absolutely went crazy when I saw this leopard bum appear out of nowhere, and then I went even crazier when I saw a tinier leopard bum come out of nowhere. It was amazing.
Fortunately, we were in the perfect position to film her and her cub as she nursed the cub just on a rock in the riverbed.
Although we had good intel on where to find the mother leopard and her cub, nothing is guaranteed in the bush, as anything could happen that might scare the mother or her cub or prevent them from coming to their favorite spots at their favorite time of day. You'll have to excuse the sometimes shaky footage. Calvin really couldn't contain his excitement. We were just lucky that we didn't take too long on the loop around the dam, and that we were in the perfect spot to film her and her cub. Thanks to Ivan, we knew exactly where to park our car to maximize our chances of seeing her. During the good 20 minutes we spent with the pair, we affectionately nicknamed the cub Little Spotty Flop, and its mother, of course, Big Flop. But we won't cheapen the moment with too many words, so enjoy the sighting, as we left as much footage in as possible.
What a sighting to end off our trip, Linz. And a cub. Oh, Big Flop. Look at that Spotty Flop. Big bump, big yawn, and over the hill, and she's secure. Oh, there's Little Flop.
As suddenly as they had appeared, the couple of leopards were gone, and the traffic jam that had sprung up around us slowly evaporated.
We are very much on a high, and we hope that we'll get to see some more awesome things on our evening drive, our nighttime drive. Alright, so I will see you all tomorrow when it is 2024.
We set out in the large game viewing truck at around 10:30 and headed down the H6, past the glowing eyes of diurnal herbivores. We did stop for a few nocturnal animals, like this small spotted genet. We could identify it as a small spotted genet because of its white-tipped tail, unlike the large spotted genet, which has a black-tipped tail.
We arrived at the picnic site at the H6 in Nuanmatsu picnic site. They've set up nice little pet bags with candles and tables under the thatch, and essentially welcome you with some champagne. And then also they have food. They had pap sauce,
Muffin
they had
sauce,
salad,
roasted
they had roast veg, they had 3
garlic
different
bread,
meats, they had
yeah,
chicken
chicken,
skewers, impala
venison,
steak, and
lamb chops.
and lamb chops. And then they also had milk tart for dessert.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, we got there around about 11:30, and then we ate at around about 1. By the way, we got home only around 3. But on the way back, we saw around about 7 different lions.
Yeah.
7 individuals.
There was the first female that looked a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Then there were 3 males who looked
skinny.
hungry. Yes, they looked very skinny, but not in bad shape.
Yeah.
Like not too scarred or anything like that.
Then there was the other 2
there were
males.
2 males that were in pretty good shape. They also looked a bit skinny, but they were like healthy looking. And then there was that last male,
Which looked
which was
emaciated.
emaciated and really sad to see.
Yeah.
So 7 different lions
So it was quite.
and 2 different African wildcats
Yeah, we actually have never seen African wildcat in
in
Kruger
Kruger.
before, and that's quite nice. So anyway, that was actually very, very lovely, and I think it's well worth the money.
Yeah,
to do.
definitely. Also, we won a bushwalk.
Oh yeah,
That
Well,
was really cool.
they gave out free prizes, so you selected things, and then up for grabs was bushwalk, sunrise drive, and a sunset drive. And Lindsay won the bushwalk,
Yeah,
and now we're here at about 3:15.
yeah.
So that's our timeline. That's the New Year's Joel.
Yeah, it was really cool. Very much worth it.
So anyway, if you guys are ever thinking about doing a New Year's Joel here from Satara, it definitely is a Joel. Lots of fun.
Cool.
Cool. Hello, this is day 22 of our Kruger Diary. Long way up.
This is the end of our trip. We're on our last full day in Kruger. Tomorrow we will be heading out of the park and going home. We are sad but also glad to be heading back home, a little bit homesick, and it will be nice to have our own bathroom and to have a roof over our heads for the first time in 3 weeks and not have to walk to go and fetch water and do the dishes. We slept until 7 o'clock, which was only 3.5 hours, and then got up and made some coffee and we went for a little morning drive. We only racked up a species count of about 30 in the morning, which is quite low, and then we came back to camp and had another nap because it was very much needed, and then headed out for an evening drive where we also didn't really see a whole lot. The best sighting was the Amur falcons. There's a whole flock of Amur falcons that were feasting on, I think they were feasting on termites. They were swooping around and filling the sky. There's not all that much to report. We are going to start packing up now to make sure that we can get up as early as possible tomorrow morning. It's been an amazing trip. We have seen some incredible sightings, and I'm really grateful that we had this opportunity to travel Kruger from south to north and back down again, which has been amazing. I think a highlight of the trip was definitely last night. I'm so glad that we stayed through the rain to do our New Year's Eve drive and bush braai.
I have to realize that we're very privileged in order to do this sort of thing. And 3 weeks on the go essentially it's a hard thing to do. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you followed along with our journey and you listened to us talk in our little canvas palace. It's been an amazing trip. I hope you guys enjoy it.
We awoke and packed up our canvas palace for the last time before hitting the road. We decided to head right down south for Malilan Gate, and boy did Kruger have a day in store for us. Just outside of Satara, we found this lion cub hiding in the grass. Apparently, we missed the best part of the sighting, as the cub had been frolicking right in the road earlier, but we were pleased to spot it nonetheless. We then went on to find another mother hyena with her cub in the morning light. We spotted the only black-headed heron of the trip, and then were treated to a sighting of wild dog pancakes next to the road. They weren't doing much, and we had to get moving, so we went on our way. But the most exciting sighting was yet to come.
We have just stopped at, well, we've just finished stopping at Skukuza. We had some brekkie at the cattle barren, and we are now back on the road. And we have just touched the H11. So we've driven the entirety of the H1 road. Quite chuffed with myself. Well, chuffed with us. I couldn't have done this without Lindsay.
And there's petrol money.
Yes.
We joined the back of a long queue of cars. Apparently, a leopard had disappeared into the bush a little further ahead of us. We could do nothing but wait patiently, as the road was completely blocked. But Kruger Park smiled on us one last time, as a few moments later, the leopard emerged from the bush, right next to our vehicle. Sometimes, jostling for position at the front of the queue is futile, and sometimes, when you're stuck at the back, you just get lucky.
Hello. So we went there and we have come back again. We are 2Ks, less than 2Ks from Malilan Gate, and we are quite sad, very sad.
Even though we've spent 3 weeks in the park, we are still driving out going, oh, let's do one more dirt road.
It's true. We have travelled all the way from Crockbridge to Punda, then back to Malilan, and here we are at Malilan. I hope you enjoyed our trip. It has been a wonderful thing to do. And here we are.